In this presidential campaign season, Democrats and Republicans alike have declared their religious faith. They do it in part because they believe it wins political points. After all, the latest Harris poll shows somewhere between 73 and 80% of Americans believe in God. But what about the rest? Agnostics say they just don't know. Others are firm non-believers, and today some are quite vocal about it. So just who is the atheist next door?
By all appearances, the Laus are a tight-knit, loving family. Ron and Alice are devoted parents. Daughters Morgan and Maddie are good students involved in wholesome activities. How would they describe the family?
Fun-loving, likes entertainment, gets along well, likes to help others.
And there is one other significant fact of their lives. The Laus, all four of them, are atheists. They do not believe in God. They say it's the certainty of science as opposed to what they call the magic of religion.
I do feel like it's really important that the whole world think rationally. I think there's a lot of things that can go wrong when people make decisions based on things they don't really have evidence for.
Some atheists, like the Laus, lead quiet lives, but others are famous, including Lance Armstrong, Jodie Foster, and even a former president's son. The numbers might surprise you in a country with such a strong religious tradition.
If you look at the polls and scan them carefully, you can easily surmise that atheists comprise somewhere between 10 and 20% of the population.
Today, atheism is mainstream. Authors who don't believe in God find their works prominently displayed in bookstores and topping the bestsellers list.
Why are atheists today so outspoken? Non-believers and believers alike agree on one point. Different views are more tolerated in a country that is more diverse than ever.
I don't know whether they're more atheists or we've created a culture where it's safer for people who have struggled with faith or don't believe in God to be more forthright and honest about that.
North Park College professor Scott McKnight, himself a Christian, offers another reason for what he calls the new atheism. Atheists, he says, are vigorously responding to outspoken Christians who are involved in politics, the so-called religious right.
And there are people who say, I don't have any religious persuasion. I'm an atheist. Which party is there for me? And I think this is part of the reason they've begun to lash out.
And statistics show there are more young atheists than older ones. At the University of Illinois at Chicago, a group called the Rationalists and Free Thinkers includes students who don't believe in God, though some grew up in religious homes.
I use my biological background that I have to create my own views, and I just realized that that is what I was raised to believe just didn't make sense to me anymore.
Somewhere in the middle of it, this humanistic Jewish congregation.
We celebrate our Judaism as our people's culture, our history, our heritage, our food.
But unlike in traditional Judaism, they don't believe in God.
We believe in people and that people have the ability to be useful to others, to take charge of their lives.
As a man of faith, Bishop Mark Hansen of the Lutheran Church has a key question for those who don't believe in God.
Well, then where do you place your trust in time of need? Where do you place your hope in a time of a crisis of confidence?
An atheist will just deal with it. Try to find a logical and reasonable solution.
One particular question that bothers the Laus when people ask, how can an atheist lead a good and moral life without God?
The fact that I'm raising children and that I want to be a good person and I like to do good things for other people, and I don't think that's driven by religion.
The Lau children, Morgan and Maddie, say they've had no trouble making friends at school, even among those from religious families. Now, religious scholars we talked to said some people who believe in God are also buying books written by atheists to see how the other side thinks and perhaps test their faith against the arguments atheists make.
Very interesting arguments on both sides. Great job,
It's
Jim.
mainstream now.